Hi there, namaste, and welcome back to another spiritualistic pick a card reading. Today I am pulling messages to you from your inner child, and we're going to see what they want to tell you. So please take a deep breath, drawing the energy up your spine, creating a clear and open channel. And as you exhale, allow yourself to come into clear knowing which group or groups has your message in it for you today. Thank you so very much for being here. As always, I am so extraordinarily grateful for each and every one of you. And as always, the timestamps to your reading are listed below in the description box, as well as all the rest of my information. We have group number 1 on the left with Space Element, group number 2 in the center with Divinely Guided, and group number 3 on the right with Divine Detour. As always, thank you so very much, and I love you with my whole heart. I will see you at your reading. Namaste. Hi there, Group 1. Namaste, and welcome to your reading from your inner child. You selected the first group with the Space Element card. The first thing your inner child wants to tell you is to remember that it's okay for you to go at your own pace. If you need a little bit of space from life or from a particular situation, you are more than allowed to do that. Also, your inner child wants you to know that you have a beautiful, beautiful heart. And if that feels perhaps like it is not necessarily being communicated to you, then that is not your responsibility. Your inner child wants you to know that it is okay for you to hold space for yourself. You've held so much space for them over the years. And they want to let you know that things are moving in a lot better, albeit gradual, direction than you might be thinking. They want you to find something that makes you feel like you are in your own little bubble away from the rest of the world, where you feel like you are in your element, where you feel like you are happy, you feel like you are just in love with life, and you feel like it's okay for you to step into the new beginnings that are ahead for you. If you need a little bit of space, or if you need to go at your own pace, that is not only okay and allowed, but it is perfectly, perfectly normal. Your inner child wants you to know that it is okay if there are little miscommunications. No one expects you to be perfect all the time, and this is something that you may have forgotten growing up. As a little kid, you are expected to be loud and messy and make mistakes and not know what you're doing, and your inner child wants you to remind yourself to honor that and remember that no matter how old you get or how much responsibility you have in life, you are always, always allowed to take space for yourself. You are always allowed to make mistakes. You are always allowed to not know what you're doing. And you're always allowed to change your mind and go with the way that you feel authentically in the moment. That is allowed, and it's healthy. If you need a little bit of space, or you need things to go really fast or go really slow, it's your prerogative. Getting into your tarot, messages for group number 1 from your inner child. There's something that you decided recently. Maybe there's like a bigger purchase that you made, or perhaps there is something like a change that was solid that you made in your physical life, or something that you intended on doing that you really felt guided to do, and maybe it is leading you into some uncomfortable energies. Your inner child wants to egg you on and let you know that it's valid that you feel maybe a bit stressed, but also that a lot of the worry and anxiety might be due to maybe expecting the worst or the very best, instead of releasing perhaps expectation of any outcome at all whatsoever. This is an opportunity for you to just live it up and enjoy your life. Your inner child would have they're saying a hoot and a holler with whatever this is, but as an adult, it might be more difficult for you. There might be more pressure involved. There might be things like financial responsibilities. There might be things like stability, things like pace, things like, is it okay to make a mistake? Is it okay to express something wrong? Things like this that are coming up, and your inner child wants you to know that it's okay to lay your burdens down. The situation has as much to offer you as you do it. And if this is something about you investing and worrying about not getting that investment back, you will. If this is something that you're passionate about and you feel like you're not receiving the passion back, you will. There seems to be some sort of energy here. We have Pentacles and Wands, where perhaps you feel spiritually guided towards a situation. The situation might feel like they're taking tactical, grounded action towards you. Or if you're taking tactical, grounded action in the situation, this might be coming at you more passionately. And so it feels like there's an impasse, but in reality, what there is a need for air and water in between. A need for emotion and expression. So that what happens is not a result of leaning too much into one or the other, and it's also not a result of not knowing or not saying. So this is where your inner child wants to remind you that if you want to go at your own pace, if you want to take some space, if you want to just say, like, screw it, it's okay. But whatever this is, it's a safe space for you to invest. Otherwise, you wouldn't be given this opportunity and you wouldn't feel so excited about it, even when you're stressed. Okay. Your inner child wants you to know that they see you as very abundant, very cool, and very popular, which is really interesting. They know that you're a good person, and they also know that good people are around you. From their perspective, they love all of the people in your life, all of the situations that you're in. And from your perspective now, you might have a little bit of adult worries, adult stress, worrying about, well, maybe you have money, maybe you have clout, maybe you're concerned about loyalty, maybe you have a tight group of friends, and so you're hesitant about letting that one other person in, or something like this. And your inner child says, don't worry, it's safe. And there's a reason why you're being given an opportunity to step into the future in a particular situation. Now, this might remind you of the past, and this may be where you need space. So leading up until that point where you step onto the water, step onto the surfboard, notice that she's stepping into the water on this Three of Wands cards. You have a lot of grounded, tactical, rational information. You also have a lot of spiritual, passionate, creative inspiration. When it comes to bringing these two things, combining them, and then adding your emotion into it, there might be this energy of feeling a bit unsafe. And so with the space element here, you're actually being encouraged to, yes, tap in with your heart element, tap in with your heart chakra, tap in with your throat chakra, but also allow yourself to feel. Allow yourself to honor the way that you feel in each and every moment, because it's so important, and it helps you to remind yourself who you are. There may be this form of like box that you might be putting your expression in, because you might have set a boundary that you feel was a mistake because it might have messed up the situation. There might have been some sort of moment where something went too fast, or something went too slow, or something was expressed in a way that wasn't necessarily a way that you deem to be healthy, or you deem to be comfortable at the very least. And your inner child wants to let you know that there's a reason that you felt this way, but that it's okay. It's all going to be okay at the end. See, this was meant to bring your attention to what it is that you want. It's also meant to bring your attention to the fact that you get to decide the way that you respond to your feelings and to the feelings of others. You were guided into this situation, and there is a lot of healthy expression and a lot of healthy love here. You do have the clarity here that it's okay to have faith. This will fulfill you if you move towards the situation, and you have learned your lesson here. But sometimes you have to be willing to make that leap of faith towards what it is that you want, towards what it is that honors you, and allow yourself to feel confused along the way, allow yourself to feel stressed along the way, allow yourself to create something new along the way, and honor the fact that no one expects you to be perfect all the time. It might not always feel like this, but it's true, because first of all, you're perfect the way that you are, and you're always growing and changing and evolving, and even the most perfectionistic people don't expect themselves to be perfect, or others, because it's just not. Whatever that definition of perfect is, it is very rigid, and there is always better, there's always more grown, there's always less stressed, less confused, less anxious perhaps. But when your heart calls you towards something, and you take that energy, and it's soft and it's pure, and you throw it into a whirlwind of thought, a whirlwind of expression, a whirlwind of desire, a whirlwind of creating something, moving towards, that's a lot of energy. And to remain soft in energies like that takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of determination. And that's not even saying that you're stepping into a bad situation. It's not to say you're making the wrong business move or the wrong move in your relationships. It's not to say any of that. Your inner child wants to remind you that it's okay for things to be a little bit scary sometimes. It's okay for you to be a little less than perfect sometimes. It's okay for you to be exactly the way that you are and not worry about whether or not it's perfect, because it is. Your definition of imperfect is someone else's definition of perfect, looking at you the way that you already are. So, if you need space, or you need space held for you, or you need to hold space, allow yourself that space. Look at yourself, honor the way that you feel, and look at this as an opportunity for you to step into your abundance more fully. And it might be a big person move. We honor this, we respect this, we see this. But your inner child also wants you to know that a lot of the changes that you've always wanted and still do want are just on the other side of this situation, where maybe it's confusing you a little bit, or maybe it stresses you out a little bit, or maybe there's that build-up moment on this Three of Wands of transmuting this fire into this emotion. That can be a lot. You have a great business idea, but then seeing how it feels to actually enact on it, that's different. To show up every day, having such passion towards a person. They're so cute and we just really get along. There's this spark, but then adding that emotion, softening up, talking about those things. Things like this. So add a little bit of space. It will make it easier to transition from one element to the other. And continue to walk in the direction that you're going, because you're not going in the wrong direction. You're not making mistakes. You're not doing the wrong thing. You just need to be a bit more gentle with yourself. Or, alternatively, ask the situation to be more gentle with you if you can. Maybe a little bit of both, and that's okay. That's allowed. It's normal. It's natural. Your inner child wants to let you know that you are allowed to be messy. You are allowed to not know what's going on. You are allowed to play it by ear. You are allowed to want, wish, hope, desire, have big, sparkly, beautiful, excited eyes. You're allowed to be spontaneous. You're allowed to be confused. You're allowed to create something that's never existed before, or you're allowed to resurrect something that once did exist and no longer does. You're allowed to do whatever you want. And this opportunity that you may or may not be considering investing in or already have, it really has a well of beautiful, genuine energy to offer you in return. It just might be that when you take fire and you take water and you put them together, sometimes you look at two adjacent things looking at each other and it might be difficult to understand. One's purple, one's blue, perhaps. But when the water and the fire turn into lava, that's a different element. Or when they learn about each other a little bit more, they understand the perspective of each one and they don't expect it to be the same. It's not an imperfection, it's a difference. It's not a yes or no, it's a holding space. Allow yourself to be in your comfort zone and be kind and gentle with yourself and the situation. And your inner child really wants you to know that you're seen, you're valid, you're not stressing out for no reason, but you are allowed to let that go. You're also allowed to feel it. You are where you're meant to be. Your inner child would look at the situation and say, oh, you totally got this. We've been through worse. You made the right choice. And it might not feel like it, but that's like when you decide you want to hike a mountain and it's a really big mountain and you're really excited about it when you first get there. When you get like 65% of the way to the top, perhaps, you kind of might be like, well, maybe I can turn back down because I have to go uphill for a while now. Your inner child is saying, if you can relight that spark, or you can sit down, give yourself some space, you will love the view at the top of that mountain. And your inner child thinks that it's worth it. Your inner self thinks that it's worth it. Your 10 of Cups, your Queen of Pentacles is there, but you gotta get through the choppy waters in order to get to the still waters. But the still waters, it's where you want to be. It's where you deserve to be. You know that you can make it there, and you're being encouraged to do so. So your inner child wants to let you know if you need to pull back, you need to change the pace, you need to hold some space for yourself, you need to add a little bit of a certain energy into the situation, or let fire see water from water's perspective, or vice versa. That's okay. That's allowed. And nothing and no one is perfect, just as much as everything and everyone is perfect. So with that in mind, Don't stress yourself out, because you're not doing anything wrong. And you didn't make the wrong choice. And it makes sense if you're confused, because you might be trying to see fire from water's perspective. And there's nothing wrong with that. It can be done, but you were guided into this situation for a reason, and that's also allowed. So if something feels up in the air right now, that's beautiful. That means that the situation is breathing, and that's a natural process. It also happens on its own, which means that your intervening is a little less required than you might think. Your inner child loves you. Your inner child is sending you really big hugs. They're showing me like a little kid like hugging onto the leg of an adult. And they want to say, go for it. Whatever it is. Don't be afraid. Go for it. Just do it. What's the worst that can happen? You make a mistake? No such thing. Also, who cares? It's life. Go for it. Your inner child, if they could, would grab you by your coat, grab you by your pant leg, and sprint and drag you into the situation. And it might make sense why you want to move a little bit slow, you want to be a little rational, you want to slow something down. Or we kind of have this stop-go energy, this, do I go faster than the speed limit or do I go under the speed limit? And your inner child's going, hey. As long as you're going forward, it doesn't matter. Okay? You are where you're meant to be. Your inner child wants to let you know that there are some things where if you were to add a little bit of innocence to your perspective, you would be able to see that you are where you're meant to be. The situation is currently meant for you. And it's okay if you feel a little bit jaded from life. That's also normal. Like we have 102, because this isn't like the 101 course, it's the 102 course. And it might be a little bit scary. But let yourself be a beginner, let yourself be unsure, let yourself feel maybe confused, and trust that there's a new beginning here that wants to bring, here we have the air and the emotions that came right after this initial situation. So expect better communication, expect more genuine emotions, expect fulfillment from the situation and the creation of something new. But one thing your inner child wants to let you know is never, ever, ever to be hard on yourself because of assumptions. I'm hearing the 4 agreements, okay? And they are, be true to your word, or I think it's like be impeccable to your word, okay? Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. That's all. So, group number 1. Your inner child wants to let you know that it's okay for you to daydream. It's okay for you to see something sparkly and want to run towards it. And if the fact that you want to run towards something sparkly makes you want to step back, that's normal and natural too. But don't hinder yourself from something that you truly desire, because it might not come in the perspective that you want it to, because it might not come in the package that you expected. Sometimes, if you have water looking at fire, they might look like they don't mesh. But that's not always the case. It might just need a little bit of space. It might just need a little bit of perspective switch. And we do see the other elements coming in to balance out the situation. So hold your horses and give yourself what you need in the moment. You are worth it, and your inner child loves you. You're allowed. Whatever it is you're not sure about, whatever it is you feel like you shouldn't be doing, whatever mistake you feel like you made, whatever decision you are you're hesitant about, you feel like you're being preemptive, whatever it is, you are allowed. And your inner child says go for it. So that's all I have for you, group number 1. That was your channeled message from your inner child. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity on your situation, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful magical realm. Thank you again for being here, and I will see you next time. Namaste. Hi there, group number 2. Namaste, and welcome to your channeled message from your inner child. Thank you so much for being here. You selected the second group with the Divinely Guided card. The first message from your inner child is that maybe the way they express themselves and the way you express yourself now, and the way that you, as a soul, express yourself, they're showing up as different corners of you. Not that they're all super different, because they all make up you, but they're showing me that maybe some of your boundaries, maybe some of your desires, maybe some of your expression, maybe some of the things that you like, the things that you are grateful for, the things that you treasure, your inner child And where you are today, you may have a few different ideas about perhaps what is okay, what is not, what is acceptable to you, what is not. And they're showing me like a vine, an ivy growing. And you kind of expect it to grow from the left to the right, and it often will make little loops and swirls, and just trust where it's going on the way. There seems like a little bit of a dead end almost, not because something is stopping, but because there might be some things that your inner child wants to push forward with in your life that might also be on your soul's path that today you're not necessarily comfortable with. Now, this is divinely guided, of course. It seems like perhaps maybe in another lifetime of yours you were super, super lenient with something, and maybe as a child you were not, or the other way around, perhaps. And where you are right now, maybe kind of this energy of tempering something out, finding that healthy center ground. There's a little bit of a question here about where you would direct your inner child, what you would have them do, almost if you were there guiding them. For example, if you were raising your inner child, what kind of things would you say, this is okay, this is not okay? If you could have little conversations with yourself as a kid, what are the things where you would say, this is okay, you can absolutely do this, or we should stay away from this while we can get ahead? Little things like that. There's kind of this energy here where I'll say raw, pure, authentic version of your inner child might want to kind of go in a certain direction that you might not be accustomed to today. So the message from your inner child is that, first of all, they love you. Everyone loves you. They're showing me ELY, and I got I love you and everyone loves you from that. And they want you to know that when you look inside yourself, you'll find a version of you that remembers who it is you really truly are, or who you used to be. Now, they don't think that you're lost. They don't think that you don't know who you are by any means, but there are certain parts of you that maybe either the world got to you, or you needed to shape or mold yourself to a certain ideal, a certain image of yourself, or in order to fit a particular maybe job, maybe you changed after getting educated for so long. Maybe the amount of friends that you've been around, or the individual friends you've been around for a while, kind of caused you to maybe pick up on their sense of humor or adopt some of their beliefs. There are some things here that are integral to who you are that you might not be necessarily comfortable expressing today. Or there may be some things that are not necessarily in alignment with you that you express because it is who you have grown into. And so with this, there's kind of this energy of letting yourself cleanse your energy, and not just from like I'm going to take a salt bath and then maybe burn some Palo Santo kind of vibe, but from a cleansing your energy all the way down to your inner child and seeing what was your opinion like then? What was your ideal like back then, before you knew better, or before you got jaded by the world, or before you got led or dragged or nudged in a certain direction? Divinely, who were you as a child? Your inner child does want to remind you that who you are today is who you were always supposed to be. There's nothing wrong. You didn't take the wrong direction. You didn't have a wrong ideal. It's just time to look back at certain foundations and see, reminding yourself that everything is divinely orchestrated, right? So you were supposed to learn certain things. You were supposed to get nudged in a certain direction, but kind of pulling back the curtain and seeing, well, but really, really, who were you? Who were you before you learned, or before you knew, or before you were around, or before you had to fit in or stand out or anything like that? Before anyone told you who, what, when, where, why, how, yes, no. There's an energy here of expression coming out really strongly. Are you comfortable or uncomfortable expressing certain areas of life that you feel like maybe you should feel the opposite about? Or maybe your inner child feels like it's okay to do something, and you might feel like, no, it's not. Or the other way around, where your inner child wouldn't be comfortable with something, but you are going for it anyway. There is this question here of, yes, who do you want to be and where do you want to go? But Also, if you are not fitting yourself into the world, if you are not looking for your place or seeking a landing point or trying to grow in a certain direction, if you literally did not know any better at all, who are you? Who would you be? What would you identify as? What would be your comfort zone? How would you feel? So your inner child wants to come through and just kind of bring this up gently for you today. Let's get into your tarot and see what messages your inner child has for you today. Group number 2. Messages from group number 2's inner child, please. Messages from group number 2's inner child. Okay. It seems as though you have needed to deal with a lot in your life, and your inner child is saying, that's between you and me. You already know what it is that you've been through. You've already known how you've grown through it. You know how strong you are. Group number 2, you're well aware. But there seems to be this energy of maybe not wanting to be strong anymore. And perhaps this stressing you out when it comes to, we have the Knight of Cups. This can be love. Bless you, Brandy. But it can also be following your heart's desires. Maybe after, we have this letter here, maybe after expressing something that's true to you. Something where maybe you don't want to get hurt again. Or something in its authentic form was deemed as unsafe. Or perhaps you never got to experience the genuine authentic form of something because of insert extraneous circumstance, okay? Your situation is different for each of you, and they don't want me to focus in on that too much because they want to actually get on with the message. There's an opportunity for you to, I'm hearing, exercise your strength in a way that shows you who you are. Not because you don't know, but because there's a version of you underneath everything that deserves to be expressed once more. So you might be noticing that there's kind of a little bit of a carrot that's being tugged towards you to chase after, because there's a part of you that wants to come out. There's a part of you that might feel ready to emerge or re-emerge that maybe doesn't fit in with your current identification of self. There's an energy here. 8 of Swords indicates feeling tight and bound, but it's really in your head. It's a reflection of what is inside of you, not necessarily what the physical reality is all of the time. We do have 2 8s, which indicates that this is something that has been a perpetuating cycle for a while, but now is the time that this cycle breaks. Now is the time that you've already learned the lesson here. You already understand this conceptually, but it's time to break out of it. It's time to break the cycle and move forward in life. And so we see with the Strength card and the 9 of Cups with the 8 of Swords in between, in the near future, your inner child is going to show you that it really, really wants something so very bad, and it might go against exactly who you needed to grow into in order to perhaps survive, in order to be the version of you that was able to walk away from pain, in order to turn into this strong version of you who is strong enough to reemerge the soft, gentle nature of you within. So there's kind of this energy where your inner child wants you to know that you get to have an easier life. And you also get to be shy reemerging, or be bold reemerging, or change your mind, or change what you identify as, or change who you perceive yourself to be, or who you're supposed to be. These things get to grow and shift. They're showing me this phrase that we hear a lot in the spiritual community. Sometimes the person that you needed to grow into, the person you needed to be in order to grow, in order to heal, is also a version of you that you need to shed in order to grow, in order to heal. It gets you to where you're going, but it only gets you so far. And then we grow and we transform, and that's the version of you that persists, that evolves. And so there's this version of you that you keep close to your chest, because to you it represents your strength. It resembles that you've been through a lot. It resembles who you are, because you've lived your life. But there's also that version of you of who you were before life lived you, I guess. And so your inner child wants you to be bold enough, be brave enough to reemerge this. And it doesn't mean that you need to change who you are. It doesn't mean that you need to be so strong again or not strong anymore. It merely means that you needed to, they're showing me like a porcupine. You needed to put your spikes up in a certain area of life, or to the world, or when it comes to a belief system or a boundary or an expression of self or something like this. You had to put your little porcupine spikes up. But now you're being given an opportunity to put those spikes down so that you can be held, so that you can be appreciated, so that you can intermingle, so that you can express, so that you can move forward. That doesn't mean that the spikes go away, doesn't mean that you can't put them up again if need be, but there's this energy of allowing yourself to be vulnerable. Messages, please, from group number 2's inner child to group number 2. I'm hearing the song I Hate to See Your Heart Break by Paramore. Your inner child is really, really honing in on, you know what you've been through and they know what you've been through, okay? That it's not something, they're saying something was unfair, something changed who you were or who you had the capacity to someday be up until this point. And this is the moment where they're saying, please, please be bold enough. We know how strong you are. Be brave enough to walk just another inch, so that you can see, so that you can really truly see, having learned all these lessons, having been this strong, having proven yourself, having stood up towards this or against this or in spite of this or whatever it is, okay? You have grown into the person that you are because of what you've been through, and it's a blessing. But the version of you that didn't get to prevail, it's time for it to be reborn through you. And you might feel a bit alone because it seems like your current circumstances might not necessarily agree with this, because your current circumstances or what led you there would be something that is part, at least, of the reason why this part of you was shut down, why the part of you had this idea or had this expression or lack thereof. So trust that you might feel a little bit foreign, you might feel a little bit weird. It might be something that you feel like you're going at it alone. But your inner child wants you to look at how strong you are in ways that were required of you. And now they want you to use just a small portion of that to be the version of you that would be an absolute luxury for you to be. The version of you that gets to, they're showing me such a cute little, like, ride off into the sunset, into the light with on a horse, like into your happy fairy tale, happily ever after ending, right? And that is very childlike. It's not impossible, right? But it's just an ideal energy. And yes, life is sure realistic, but it's not nihilistic. And if you've experienced that part of the world, it doesn't mean that other than that doesn't exist as well. And so your inner child wants you to know that right now you're going through a great change. Whatever happened to you in the past, or whatever happened around you in the past, that is in the past. But it did also merge you into who you are. And this was divinely guided. Okay, not saying it's fair for you as a child, but saying that it helped make you who you are. It was part of your soul's contract on this earth so that you can have transformed. And now you get to let this go and take a step forward. They're not underestimating how difficult it was. They're not underestimating how strong you are. They're not underestimating how amazing you are. You love you. They love you. Everyone loves you. You are loved. You are amazing. You are beautiful. But you also deserve to go out and explore who you should have, would have, could have been. You also get to go out there and explore the parts of you that maybe you don't want to be seen. Maybe you feel shy to express. Maybe would require you to stand in your power or even be served, with the Queen of Pentacles here. We do see with the Knight of Cups and the Hierophant a little bit of a secret energy. They don't want me to spoil for you, but your inner child's going, hee hee hee. There seems to be some sort of positive shift or change. Number 5, I can show you your inner child, okay, your throat chakra, play, fun, romance, love, your confidence, your sense of self. We see positive changes. We see a positive event in your future. But in order for you to fully make this leap of faith, it's going to require you to feel comfortable receiving, feel comfortable having it easy, and let go of anything in your mind that would have told you that you need to have those spikes up just in case. To let yourself put those porcupine spikes down and be held in someone's gentle hands. And this can be in any way, shape, or form. It can be the hands of the universe, the hands of a person, the hands of a job, the hands of a friend group. But there's this energy of letting yourself receive and not feeling as though they're showing me someone who doesn't like to be touched, because to them that equals danger. Okay. They're showing me someone who like then finally gets held and didn't realize the warmth of a true embrace. Something like this. Now, they don't want me to get too deep onto what this is, because one, this is a general reading, and two, this seems like it's something that's very, very deep, very personal. And so I don't want to get too much into this. But your inner child wants you to know that you deserve to experience the yin, not just the yang. You deserve to experience not just the need to be strong, but the need to not be strong. You deserve to feel what it is like to not need to be strong, to not have your guard up, to not have your defenses up. And so don't be surprised if you find yourself in the situation that would make you inherently want to have your guard up. In a situation where it encourages you to express a part of you that you maybe have fought so hard not to express, or a version of you that you were so positively sure wasn't there, even though deep down you maybe knew that it was, or you thought you grew out of it, or something. We do see here something really, really positive in the near future, and it's going to require you to feel comfortable receiving. Maybe this is something you didn't receive as a child, or when you received it as a child, it equaled being unsafe. So, with this energy here, we see that you've been on a self-love journey for a while, but that it might also ask you to go out on a limb in order to experience something that makes you feel perhaps alone, makes you feel as though you're carrying your burdens along with you, or you don't know what to expect. And you're being strong, and you're being asked by your inner child to be strong enough to have the possibility of stepping into that energy for that not to end up being the case. When a porcupine puts their quills down and someone goes to pick it up, there's always a chance that that person can squeeze them, that person can want to do them harm, that person can drop them on accident. But it is that decision to put the quills down in the first place. That decision to say, well, I can always put these back up, or maybe I can give it a try. That is what you're being called to express here. That's what you're being called to explore. Your inner child wants you to know that you deserve to feel the other side of this energy. You deserve to spread your wings, and you deserve to be loved for all of your flaws, all of your wounds, because they are not who you are, but they also deserve love. You deserve, they're showing me a situation of somebody who's like, their body's all like cut up, beaten up, and somebody else like kissing their bruises, like kissing their wounds. Like, you deserve to have a situation in your life that supports you so very much that even your wounds are perfect. Even your flaws are flawless. Not just needing to be strong all the time, or needing to have your quills up all the time, or presenting a certain part of you. And this may have formed a part of your image, and it may have crystallized a part of who you are internally. And it was probably very important for your soul's karma, for your soul's journey, but your inner child wants you to feel what it's like to receive, and it's going to feel like the biggest luxury for you. Because you know what it feels like to not have the luxury to put your quills down. You know what it feels like to put your quills down, and that maybe have been a mistake. So your inner child wants you to try one more time. And they also want you to know that you deserve to feel what it's like when your anxieties don't come true. When the things that stress you out have an opportunity to, and then don't, and it goes better than you expect. Your inner child wants you to get prepared for something that they seemingly already know about. If you're very intuitive or psychic as a child, you might find yourself stepping into a deja vu moment in the near future where you experience something that your inner child maybe had a dream about, or a premonition about, or had a feeling of, or maybe drew just randomly. They want you to be open to interpretation of yourself. Not so that you can be molded by your environment, or so that you can change, or there's nothing wrong with you, nothing like that. But they do want you to be open to moving a little bit differently if provided a safe opportunity to do so. And then maybe to see if you didn't need to be strong, if you didn't need to be perfect, if you didn't need to be unhealed, if you didn't need to carry all this baggage with you, if you didn't need to have all these responsibilities, who would you be? So your inner child wants you to carry that with you today and into the near future. And when presented with the opportunity, they'd like to ask you to, it's like I was going to say jump, and they're saying it's a little more like let yourself be fed instead of feeding others. Let yourself be served instead of serving others. Let yourself receive material love instead of just being there to love everybody else. There seems to be something here that when you say yes to this, if you say yes to this, if you put your quills down, this seems to be at least moderately permanent, at least long-lasting. Maybe you don't want to sign on to a contract for work. Maybe you're a freelancer, but you don't want to sign on to a company for a whole year, because what if it's a whole year, just insert reason for fear of commitment, right? To work, to a person, to a friend group, to moving, to an apartment, whatever it is, signing that lease. If you put your quills down and you allow yourself to explore versions of you that didn't get to explore, you might very well find yourself ending up in exactly the situation that you dreamt of since you were a kid, and maybe had to let go of thinking that was a possibility, or thinking it was realistic, or thinking it was fair. There's a lot here that they're showing me the density of the energy, but they're not showing me like specific situations because it's not my business and it's very touchy. But that much I know. That much I see. I see this almost self-sacrificing, this surrender moment, not in a good way. I see this moment of, it's just too much. It's just too much. I just can't do it anymore with the tower. And you see this opportunity to maybe do it one more time. Maybe try again. And we see this, okay, well, here's you and all your baggage. Here's you and all your memories. Here's you and, all right, there's no one else here. We're carrying 1,000,000 pounds. We're going out into the desert. We don't know where we're going. But what we see here is a positive ending. And your inner child wants you to know that your past is not your future. And who you needed to be in order to become who you are today doesn't need to be a version of you that stays for your future either. Imagine it as like a weighted jacket. All of the lessons, all of the struggles, all of the things you needed to learn, all of the strength you needed to have. Imagine a situation where you walk into this building, weapon in hand, coat on your back, ready to fight one last time. But someone walks up to you and asks to take your coat. And they sit you down and they wrap you in a warm blanket and they serve you a hot cup of tea and your favorite snack. It might feel like a little bit of a shock. It might feel just as uncomfortable as it is relieving. But it's a place that the universe, your inner child, this is the divinely guided card. It's a place that you were always meant to get to. It's a place that you always wanted to get to. It's a place of solace. Allowing the universe to show you the end of the story by allowing yourself to... Just something about expression is coming up here. Expression or identification of self or something along these lines. By letting yourself put those quills down. And maybe being surprised, but trusting when someone asks to take that heavy coat. So have a little faith. And know that your inner child is rooting for you. You are not where you've been. You deserve to be treated like a beautiful, wide-eyed, innocent, lovely, sacred being. And you will. So give yourself that chance. You'll know when it's time. You'll know what this is about if you don't already. Okay, group number 2, that's all I have for you today. That was your channeled message from your inner child. They love you so much, and you're amazing. You really, really are. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity on your situation, and I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful, magical realm. I'll see you next time, and namaste. Hi there, group number 3. Namaste, and welcome to your reading. Today we're taking a look at messages from your inner child, and you selected the 3rd group with the Divine Detour card. Now, your inner child wants you to know that there are some dreams and wishes of yours that are still unfulfilled. There are some things that maybe you always wanted to do when you were little. Think in the terms of, when I grow up, I want to be a blank. Okay, it can be big, it can be small, but your inner child wants you to know that you are closer than you think. And this might be something that seems entirely irrelevant to your life today, but in a roundabout way, you are actually preparing yourself to take something, at least entering you into this energy, on, if not full throttle. Your inner child wants to make you aware of 2 things. The first one is that you are not alone. And the second one is that you are always where you're supposed to be. Everything is always working out in your favor. We see a lot of optimism, and we also see a lot of negativity relating to maybe a dream you used to have, or something that you really desire, or just a particular energy in general. We do see this heart-centered energy coming out, and you just kind of feel as though, well, if it was meant to be, it would happen. And it just didn't so happen to be the path that you chose to walk down in your life. So probably it's something that is for later, or you just let it go, or it can be something that you like in private, or whatever. Your inner child wants you to know that you have been, in a sneaky way, bringing yourself right up to this goal. So it might surprise you a little bit, or it might come as a little bit of a surprise when you find out that you have actually been walking the path there. Now, this is a really interesting message. Let's see, messages please from group number 3's inner child to group number 3. What would you like to tell group number 3? I'm hearing, I'm ready, okay? Ace of Wands. We have a strong realization and spiritual awakening right off the bat here with the Fool, the Queen of Cups, and the Ace of Swords. We also have the 6 of Swords and the 8 of Pentacles coming out. Your inner child wants you to make some room in your life for play, for creativity, for perhaps sensuality, or for maybe increasing your spiritual, I was going to say spiritual practice a bit, and they were like, nope, not unless it's fun. Your inner child is showing me all the colors on these cards very, very strongly, and they really, really want you to take some leaps of faith towards something that makes a little less sense than it does feels good, okay? Because there's something here where you are learning how to have faith in situations that maybe seemed like they didn't work out, and then at the end of the day, hindsight's 20/20, and you learn why the situation really was working out in your favor, and it's so on and so forth. Every time you think something's not working out in your favor, you find out later that it really was. Kind of one of those rejection is protection energies, or perhaps something along these lines. If you knew what you were walking towards, maybe you would have been shy and not gone towards it, etc. Your inner child knows you so well, and they know that you will stay up all night working really hard on something. They know that you will study all of the answers that you know aren't even going to be on the test, just so that you can get 100% on the test and understand the context as to why. There's a lot here about you using every single bit of your heart, every bit of your soul, every bit of your mind, just in order to put your all into everything that you do. And because of this, your inner child is letting you know that you were not supposed to get burnt out like this. You were not supposed to, there's something in your life that is matching your heart's desire, and it's also supposed to occur effortlessly for you. Now, the word effortless might not necessarily be in your vocabulary, group number 3, and because of this, your inner child wants to let you know that, surprise, something's showing up in your life really, really easily. Like, you're going to end up, again, being in a situation where you didn't realize you were walking down the path to get there, or you end up taking a few steps down the road that you are meant to go on, and you realize that you are halfway to something that you didn't realize you were on your way towards. So, with this, don't be afraid to learn, but trust that you are not meant to work harder than you feel. because you already know enough. You've already learned enough. They're kind of showing me, what is that? The Karate Kid. You know how the little kid, he learns like how to do miscellaneous everyday tasks that actually serve him, but he's also learning karate at the same time. There's kind of this Mr. Miyagi energy that your inner child and the universe have been dragging you through in order to help you like wax on, wax off, but you were actually learning how to block. Something like this. So when you stand up, when you stand up to bat and you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, it turns out that you actually do. You actually know exactly what you're doing. But it's just the fact that maybe the intent, the genuinity, the sincerity behind this energy stays pure. It stays innocent. It stays exciting. It stays fresh and young. They're showing me like an energy that you experienced maybe as a child, again on your wish list of what you want to be when you grow up, or something like this, something sweet, and putting it in like a little time capsule for later. And you like running around the time capsule time and time and time again, forgetting that it's in there almost, and learning all of these things in order to show you how to dig it up, what to do when you open it up, and then you already have all of the skills needed in order to fulfill that energy of yours. But the energy stayed protected, it stayed pure, it stayed fresh, it stayed innocent after all of this time. We have the Magician at the back of the deck. Your inner child seems like they've watched you achieve every single thing you've set your mind towards in this life. Impossible or can't are not words in your vocabulary, group 3. And your inner child wants you to know that because impossible and can't are not in your vocabulary, there are certain things that might have come close to bringing those words up that were not showing up in your life until you got Mr. Miyagi'd. So, your inner child wants you to know that you are about to take a step forward, a leap of faith, if you will, and it's going to put you in a situation that is going to reveal to you why you felt that way all along. And this is going to be beautiful. It's going to be an opportunity for you to learn yourself and feel like you made it in whatever situation this is in. Now, the Divine Detour card, this is something that's going to make your heart feel very, very happy, very, very fulfilled, and it's going to be something that does ultimately change your life. Now, whatever this energy is, this in communion with the changing your life energy might be something that would have had you shy away. But if you were seeing this as not a big deal, or seeing it as something other than what it truly was, you might not have walked yourself into this situation. So your inner child gave you a nudge, and it gave you another nudge, and the universe gave you yet again another nudge, and you had the spiritual knowledge, you had the tactical information, and all of the learning done, all of the work done. You had the reason, and you had all the feelings, and so you had all of these puzzle pieces coming together, and it turns out that you were doing a 1,000 piece puzzle, not a 999 piece puzzle, but because of that, one-handed, that last puzzle piece, you know exactly what it looks like, you know exactly where it's going, and you know exactly what it's for. And once you have that puzzle completed, you are able to then see that full image. So this is a really, really big situation, a really, really big desire of yours, a really, really big opportunity. And it might be something that you would have been called to shy away from or make a really big choice. This would be something that has some spiritual awakenings and some lessons and some creativity. I'm hearing taking some creative liberty in your life, going out on a limb and doing some things that maybe you wouldn't in the first place because you feel safe, because you learned how to, maybe you always really wanted to be a singer, but instead you learned music theory for the flute. And then maybe you learned pranayama. Okay, so you have a really strong diaphragm. Maybe you learned acting, but you never let yourself dare to dream to be a singer. Well, it just so turns out that there's going to be a situation in your life where all of these things that you've learned turns out have made you a better singer than you would have been if you had started with your voice and then just worked on it, and then you felt, oh, it's not good enough, oh, I have to tune this up, oh, I have to do that. Your diaphragm's already strong. You already have the stage presence. You already know how to sight read sheet music. It's like this energy of those 999 pieces all being put together and you receiving that last final one, and it coming from the time capsule of your heart, of your inner child. There's this energy of success. The Knight of Cups, the Six of Wands, and the Lovers are really standing out to me. That with the Queen of Cups. Your inner child wants you to know that you deserve love. You deserve to love what you hear, okay? Whether it's listening to your own voice, whether it's listening to what it is that you're hearing from others, or just from life in general, you deserve to love what you hear, okay? You might be tired of waxing on, waxing off, but you will feel so proud when it turns out that you actually get to put those skills to use in a way that you would not have guessed. Your inner child is really excited for you to see something, and it might be coming together now. It's going to require you to have a little bit of a perspective shift, but it's not so much one where you are understanding the wrong thing, because you have 999 pieces of the puzzle. You already know what that missing piece theoretically should be. You already know what it looks like, but it's not in your hand. There's kind of this, you believe it without seeing it, but you've got all of the other puzzle pieces, so really you need to see it to believe it, because there can be a surprise on that piece, you know? You never really know for sure, even though you do. So there's this energy here of allowing yourself to kind of get a little loose in a way of following your heart, in a way of letting yourself receive positivity, in a way of just kind of taking it easy on yourself and trusting that you have succeeded at everything you've ever done. You have learned everything you needed and then some. And so when it's applied to this situation that you maybe thought was not going to come around or was not going to come back around, it's actually the universe choosing you back for choosing yourself in order to learn those 999 other puzzle pieces. Your inner child sees how hard of a worker that you are. They know what you're capable of, you know what you're capable of, and there might be this energy of like simultaneously wanting to be in an easier place in life, but also needing a bit of a challenge. It's kind of like they're showing me someone working an office job that's not like intellectually stimulating, but it definitely has you putting in effort. Like it's not easy, but it's not challenging. Does that make sense? Like kind of an energy like that, okay? So we see here where you're going to be stimulated, okay? We see a stimulation here with these cards, but we also see calmer waters. It's like, so what if instead of working an office job that was not stimulating but was difficult, you instead took a job that was not difficult but was entirely stimulating? So here we have this challenge of perspective, but it's not because you didn't earn it. It's because you did, but what you are earning is not maybe an even more difficult job that's still not stimulating. What we see instead is you walking away from that which is not serving you and making a power move because it's presented to you that you have the option. And so when given the opportunity to uproot yourself here, you might be a little shy towards it, a little hesitant. Your inner child wants to let you know that if you let them lead, you won't feel like it's too hard. They'll give you an extra boost of energy. They want you to daydream. They want you to get a little delulu. They want you to let yourself get carried away with what is possible here. When they tell you, hey, you get to sing on stage today, and you go, I'm not a professional singer. You go, no, but you have a trained diaphragm. No, but you take phenomenal care of, your larynx. No, but you can read sight music, the entire show. You're extraordinarily overqualified for whatever this is. You just haven't applied yourself to it, and it's stimulating for you. It's fulfilling for you. So your inner child is saying, I'm hearing Breakaway by Kelly Clarkson. Take a risk, take a chance, make a change. Take that step onto that boat that has your name written on it. They're showing me in holes. When it's like Stanley Yelnats. He digs up that hole and finds that treasure chest, and the treasure chest has his name on it. No one was expecting that, but it belongs to him, rightfully. So there's kind of this energy, this moment like this that's showing up. And you've been guided towards it. Even though you might think that you've been guided away from it, you are actually being guided towards it. So with this, let yourself dream. Let yourself know that you're supported. And your inner child wants you, I'm hearing F is for friends who do stuff together, U is for you and me, the fun song from SpongeBob. Your inner child wants you to get giddy, get excited, let it be fun, let it be crazy. I'm hearing this Chance the Rapper song, the only way to survive is to go crazy. Someone might say, hey, get up on that stage and sing. Someone might say, here, take this job. And either way, you're overqualified, but you might feel the opposite. You might feel shy. Someone says, hey, we Mr. Miyagi'd you. Okay, so now go do your karate. And you're probably like, what the heck? Like, I don't do karate. Like, I wash cars, you know? Your inner child is saying, like, say screw it. Like, go for it. See what happens. Daydream a little bit. Let yourself expect the best. Let yourself be supported in the situation and see how much fun you can make out of the situation. Like, make a game out of it. Because you're not a singer, when you stand up on that stage, who cares if you're gonna just give it all you got? Because it's one time for one night and one night only. It's group number 3. Woo! There's kind of this energy here where they're like, get hyped up, have fun. Don't, like, be lighthearted about it. Don't take it too seriously because, wink, wink, if you had taken it too seriously, maybe you wouldn't have walked all the way down that path. But you did walk all the way down the path, and you don't have to take it seriously, and that might exactly be your ticket towards fulfilling a desire that you maybe forgot that you had, or you maybe had buried, or you maybe hid in that little time capsule. Okay? They don't want me to get too intense with it because they want you to remain in a lighthearted energy. They want that energy of surprise and excitement and getting amped up to really be what prevails here out of everything else. You know how hard of a worker you are. You know what you're capable of. But your mind, your body, your spirit, your emotions, your success, your community, everything supports this. Whereas maybe it wouldn't have before. Or maybe you wouldn't have completed all of that puzzle if you knew what that central piece was when you started. So, allow yourself to have your Karate Kid moment. Your inner child wants you to know that you are worth it, you are beautiful, and you are now, will be, and have always been exactly who, what, when, where, why, and how you were supposed to. No exceptions. You're perfect the way that you are. You have some beautiful, exciting energies ahead for you, and your inner child wants you to leap at these opportunities. They want you to say, screw it, and go out on that stage and give a one-night performance. It might end up being your career, but don't go into it like that. Don't go into it like that. Go into it like, hey, I'm here right now. Let's live it up. This is one moment. It's your Karate Kid moment. Okay? Be lighthearted. Have fun. Enjoy the moment. Don't take it too seriously. And know that you're supported. You're emotionally supported. And let yourself have a good time. Okay? Let yourself let loose a little bit. Let your hair down. Your inner child wants to see you get a little crazy. Okay? Okay, group 3, that is all I have for you. That is your channeled message from your inner child. I hope this helped shed love, light, and clarity on your situation. And as always, I'm sending you all my love, light, and gratitude. And I hope you have a phenomenal rest of your day, week, month, year, and incarnation in this beautiful, miraculous realm. I will see you next time, and namaste.